Hi, fifth grade scientists. Today I'm doing this lesson from outside because it's such a nice day. Today we're going to talk about life in space and what happens to your body when you are an astronaut in the International Space Station or traveling someplace in space. So I'm going to share my screen with you again today, and I'm going to head over here and open it up, make it full screen for you. So it's all about life in space. So first of all, what most people think is really cool is that you float. And it's not just you that floats, it's everything that floats. And because everything floats, that can make it quite the challenge. You can't set anything down anywhere because everything floats. There is no gravity, or the gravity is a lot less in space. So you'll see the astronauts a lot of time using lots of Velcroing things to their pants, to the walls. One of the things that's very different in space is eating. You can't set anything down when you eat. You can't just open up a bag of something because everything will fly out. Drinking is very difficult too. So let's move on over here to the next page. Here's some things that happens to your body when you're in space. Like we said, you float. I think we all would think that would be really cool. Another thing that happens is that you grow taller. Not a lot taller, maybe a little less than an inch or so. Because there is no gravity compressing our spine, we're able to stretch up a little bit more and we grow taller. But the bad news is when you come back to Earth, you go back to your normal size again because of gravity. A bad thing that happens is that your muscles and your heart get much weaker the longer you stay in space. Because you're not fighting against gravity and friction, your muscles grow weak. So the astronauts on the International Space Station are required to exercise at least 2 hours or more a day. And we're going to see some videos of how they do that without gravity in space. Another thing that's not so good is that your bones lose calcium. The longer you're in space, the more calcium comes out of your bones and your teeth. Now, scientists have found that when they return to Earth, they're never able to replace that calcium again. So, not a good thing. When you're in space, your face swells. Because when we stand here on Earth, the gravity is always pulling our blood down to the lower part of our bodies. But if we don't have any gravity to do that, the blood floats all around throughout your body, and one place that it goes to that it's usually not is your face, and your face swells. And when that happens, it makes you feel really stuffy, like you have a bad cold and a bad sinus. And usually after a couple of days, their face swelling goes down and their sinuses clear up a little bit as they get used to it. Another bad thing is that you are exposed to a lot of high radiation when you're out of our atmosphere. Our atmosphere can help protect you from getting a lot of radiation exposure. So let's take a look at this picture. This is an astronaut sleeping in space. Sleep is very different because you can't lay down because there's no gravity to hold you down. When it's their turn to sleep, they each have a little cubby, and they'll go in and they will zip themselves up into a little bag that looks like this. They'll put their arms out of it. They will strap their heads down. A lot of them will also strap their arms down or put their arms down in the belt area there, and they cover their eyes up and they sleep. When they sleep, because there is no gravity, their arms a lot of times will float out in front of them like this. Your head will bob back and forth if you don't fasten your head with a strap. So sleeping is very different. You don't roll over very easily there. You are sleeping in one position. So if you move a lot in your sleep, it can get hard for you to get used to sleeping in a bag like that. Another thing that's way different is the food. The food comes all in pre-packages like this, and they heat it up in microwaves if they need to cook it, and then they'll open it, and a lot of the food comes where you can just squeeze it into your mouth when you eat it. You can use silverware if it's a heavy food that you can stab with your fork and hold on to it with your fork. If you open up a bag, for example, of those candy-coated peanuts, like the M&Ms there, they would float everywhere. So they try and open them and take out just what they need at a time, or put some in their mouth to eat it. Notice that the silverware is on Velcro, as is a lot of the food is Velcroed to their tray so that it doesn't float away when they eat it. So they don't get stoves and ovens up there except for microwaves to cook their food. It all comes pre-packaged like this. Here's another example of if you're eating your meal on a tray. The tray would look something like this, and there'd be plastic packages that you would open up and eat, and you would put your beverage in front of you there. But you'll see later this week how hard it is and challenging it is to drink. Almost everything has to be drank out of a straw so that the liquid doesn't float away from you. Exercising is a big challenge there because there is no gravity. So when they run on the treadmills, as you can see in this picture, they are chained into them and harnessed into them to hold them down so that they don't float up from the treadmills. And they exercise, like I said, a couple hours a day. They actually do have some weight machines too that they can use because you can't just lift weights because there is no gravity. So they use a lot of weight resistant machines in space along with the treadmill. Now, showers and cleaning yourself is very different. A lot of the times they'll use just wipes, like wet wipes, to wash when they need to, but there really is no dirt in the International Space Station. It's a very sterile, clean place, so they don't have to wash like we do every day. If they needed to take a shower, which they don't do a full shower very often, they go into this enclosed area here and they can spray some water on them to wash and rinse themselves off. But then they need to make sure to vacuum all of that water to catch all of the drops back up and reuse the water. Most of the time when you wash your hair, they'll use their hair like a shampoo to wash their hair without water, where they spray it in and pat it dry with a towel, and it will wash it that way, taking the grease out of it. And they don't have to change their clothes very often. They don't wear shoes. So as you see down below, it says they change their clothes every couple of days, not every day, and their pants only once a week, because really, like I said, there's not a lot of dirt there and there's no washing machines there. So when they're done with their clothes, they pack them away and send them back to Earth on the next shuttle that goes up to bring supplies and take supplies away. Now, going to the bathroom, well, that's an interesting story. Whether you are a girl or a boy, you will sit down to go to the bathroom. If you just have to go, number one, if you just have to pee, you will hook yourself up to like a vacuum hose and you will go pee in that. Now, they recycle all of their urine. So liquid that comes out of your body is recycled and turned back into drinking water. And you'll see a video on that. I know, doesn't that sound disgusting? But they can't bring water up into space. So they reuse every bit of liquid, including urine. When you have to poop or go number two, you put a little baggie in the outhouse toilet there, and you strap your feet down there in the leg straps, and you sit on the toilet and you wrap your elbows under the armrest there, and you go to the bathroom. When you're done, you bag it up and you throw that in a solid waste area, and it's kept differently from when you have to pee. This week, you're going to be seeing some cool videos from a Canadian astronaut while he was on the International Space Station. His name is Chris Hadfield, and he had a lot of fun teaching people all of the normal things like cutting your nails and eating and all sorts of different things. So this week, I'm going to be posting videos from Chris Hadfield that you will really enjoy watching. So that is it for today, and enjoy the videos from Chris Hadfield. I love watching how different life is in space. Until tomorrow, see you later.